Call Me Baby episode 5. I am Melissa.
I'm Roxanne.
And we are so happy to be back. We missed you guys last week. I was in the hospital, fucking stomach virus. It was terrible. But yeah, we're happy to be back. Thank you again for all your support. We can't wait for this episode. We have a lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah, we're actually going to be talking about if you can be friends with your ex after you break up, and if you have to disclose if you've been intimate with a friend when you first start dating someone new. So, good things. Yes. It's back to just us today. We are also working off one mic again. So, thanks for your patience with that. We're learning.
Yeah. It'll be easier since it's just us two this time. But we're working on that. We'll have two eventually. So next week. All right. So let's get into it. First topic. Can exes be friends? What do you think?
I think they can be. I think it definitely depends on the nature of it. So like if we broke up because, he cheated on me or I cheated on him or, like something like that, it's a lot harder to get past that probably and be friends versus if you just aren't right for each other and you acknowledge that. It's probably a lot quicker to like get to that level.
Yeah. I feel like if you do break up for some reason, like you aren't right for each other or some reason other than cheating, I feel like after, obviously there's going to have to be like a gap,
like
a buffer period where you're both getting over each other. And then it's like, if they start seeing someone else, then it's just like, can you still be friends? I feel like it depends on them. If they're seeing someone else, if the other person's okay with them being friends with you.
I mean, I know that firsthand.
Yeah.
Super recent. But, no, I agree. I think with my most recent experience with Toby, he was so obsessive about us getting back together in the beginning that I had to keep him like at bay. But then he started dating someone else and I was like, hell yeah, like you're over it. We can be friends now. Like we can get to a good place. And then he like ghosted. Mm-hmm. So apparently it was because like the new girl wasn't comfortable with it.
In like nothing. Sorry, that just skipped a little bit if it sounded weird. This laptop's a little slow. We are doing great. But yeah, the one part about Toby was that when y'all broke up, he was part of the friend group, and it was just like, it would have been great if you guys could remain friends because he was around so much. But yeah, but it doesn't surprise me that happened, right? Because I don't want to talk bad about anyone. It seems like something that would happen with him. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think I'm not dissing anyone. It does seem to take a certain amount of maturity to have that conversation, even if you don't want to be friends, to say, hey, this isn't going to be good for my future. Right. And I think that takes a level of like communication maturity, if that's a thing. Yeah. Like just specifically being able to communicate those things. It doesn't mean you're not mature in other areas, but that's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, there have been relationships that I think the amount of time you've been in the relationship, like say you're dating someone for 3 months, it doesn't work out. Is there any use? Like it. My thing is, okay, so I dated a guy, Logan, a long time ago. We were best friends before we dated. We dated for 2 years. Great relationship. We broke up. We went our separate ways. It was like kind of civil, but I lost my train of thought. Sorry guys, I'm so slow. But we still talked after that. Like we would be, hey, I was just thinking about you, how you doing? Stuff like that. But then there's been people I've dated for like 3 months and it's just like, hey, this isn't working. Never talked again. And that's fine. Like it's not like, I know everyone's different, but like after 3 months, or you can't, well, at least me, it's not like if I lose you, it's like you weren't in my life for that long. It's fine.
No, I agree. I think with anyone, like, it could be like after 3 months, you realize you're better as friends, and that'd be great. Because, you know, like, if you could keep them in your life and they'd be great friends, like, that'd be awesome. But I also agree that, like, that's not always the case by any means.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, I've dated people for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, introduce them to the friend group, and they're still there. They're still here. Those 2 people weren't even my intention to keep them, right. But they're in the friend group, and like they brought other people good.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I think if you can get past your own, like, oh, they dumped me, or they're not into me, or I'm not into them, you know, like if you can get past that hump in like a new relationship and just realize, all right, like just because we're not meant for each other, it doesn't mean, first of all, they might not be meant for someone else in the group, but also like they're a good person, they can stay. Even if we don't stay super close friends, right. Like I can still see them around. Yeah. You know, like they can stay in this group. Like we can still hang out. You know, like it can be civil, whatever.
See, I feel like a lot of people, at least the people that I've dated, aren't comfortable with that. They're just like, okay, well, I don't really want anything to do with you anymore. And it's not, I didn't do anything wrong. Like it's mutual breakups, you know, but like they're just like, I don't want anything, like I don't care to hang around you anymore. It's just like, maybe it's just like they don't want to see me with someone else, but me, I don't really mind. Unless I like really really like you, then I'm gonna need like 4 months. But then again, it's just like, yeah.
I mean, for me, I want to see everyone happy. All right, like my goal is to see everyone in my life happy, whether I stay friends with them or not. Like I do wish people happiness, you know, like down to like my horrible roommate, my worst ex, like everything. Like I hope eventually they learn from their mistakes and they're happy. Mm-hmm. There are times that I wish I could punch them, but after I get past that initial stuff, like eventually, you know, you want everyone to be happy. So if I can stay friends with someone and they can, like, I can see them with another person that actually makes them happy, and I know I didn't do that, like, I can handle that. Yeah. But I get what you're, like, a lot of people can't handle that with exes. They want their ex to pine over them. Mm-hmm. Even if they've moved on, they still want you to, like, pine for them. So I think that's where it's tricky, because you have to both be able to get over that hump and be happy for each other and be happy that the other person's happy in their own life in order to be friends.
Right. I'm like, I'm not going to lie, like if I was going through a breakup and I saw that they moved on quicker, I'm going to get a little butthurt. Like it's just like, I'm still like a little sad about you, like sad girls club, and you're like with someone else. It stings for me. Like I can't act like I don't give a fuck. But yeah, I am sensitive when it comes to that. But it just depends on the relationship and how close we were. Like I dated a guy for 2 weeks, and when I like first moved here, I wouldn't even consider it a relationship. Like it was just we were talking, but it was weird. But we saw each other after because I was friends with his friends, and we would like run into each other sometimes, but he would try to avoid situations where he knew I would be there at first when it was fresh. Right. Now we don't talk at all anymore. I don't really talk to that friend group anymore. But
our group's better. I think for me, I've had enough situationships where like I've been single, someone else has been single, and we've fooled around, you know, like long term, like 6 months to a year, possibly more. Like it just happened when it happened. But I think it helped me learn to be okay with people being happy with other people, because I was that person that like could see them with another person. Like I could get invited out even when they were bringing someone else out, and it would be fine. Like I never got like, I got jealous in the beginning, but I learned not to. So I think that helps me now care less. It doesn't mean it doesn't sting at all when I see someone with someone new. But like it definitely hurts a lot less than I think it used to for me.
I'm like, I feel like I'll say I don't care. Like I'm like I give off that impression, but then like catch me at like midnight, like crying in my pillow. Like I'm sensitive, low key, but I don't let anyone see it, except my close friends and all that. What about like sex with an ex? What do you?
I think everyone is due for a backslide at some point. Like if the sex is good and you've both moved forward and got into a healthy place and both believe that that won't bring you backwards, I think it's fine. Like I think most of my exes I've hooked up with after the fact.
Really?
Not all of them. Actually, probably the worst one was the guy I was engaged to, Jacob. Like me and him, even after he cheated and I threw his stuff out the window and like we had that whole mess, like 6 months later I randomly went over there.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, I'm over you now, so your dick's good. Let's do this. And like did it.
Like I've had sex with an ex, and I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird feeling, and like I regretted it as soon as it started happening. I was just like, this just doesn't feel right.
Do you get emotional with sex?
Um, if I have sex with someone like over a while, unless you like go over there, have sex, and then leave, like you're hanging out, you're getting to know each other, you know. Oh, well,
With an ex, you don't. I don't know.
I don't know. I just like, I think there were still feelings there from his end, and it was just like there wasn't from mine. But I was just like, I don't want to give you the wrong idea. Like I'm just here for the D. Like, that's it.
That's fair. I think for me, it's like the only times I've ever hooked up with an ex, it was like a booty call. It was like a, hey, what are you doing? Let me go do this thing and I'll leave. Like 20-minute turnaround time.
Really?
Like it's not, hey, how are you doing? It's like, all right, let's do this. Thanks. Orgasm. Bye.
Like since college, I haven't had like a hookup where I just go over and then leave. I always like hang out after. I don't know why. It's just like
There was one time a while ago, I called my friend Courtney. I was talking to her on the way to this guy's house. And I was like, hey, let me call you back. And she's like, okay. And I was like, she's like, when will you call me back? I was like, I don't know, like an hour, whatever. So I go in, hook up. I call her back within like 17 minutes of hanging up. Like, and she's like, what did you have to do? And I was like, I just had to have sex. Like, I'm back now. She laughed so hard. She was like, I wouldn't expect anything else. Like, it's fine. I swear I'm not a slut. It was someone I was like actually seeing, but it was a booty call moment.
no one slut shames anymore. It's 2021. If you do, that's your issue. Yeah, maybe I do now that I think about it. I tie sex with emotions a little bit because like if I'm hooking up with someone, like I hooked up with David and I was not like I didn't.
That was long term.
No, it wasn't. It was short term.
I mean, it wasn't like a week.
Right. But going into it, I was like, I just want fuck buddy. But then like we hung out after and like cuddled and stuff, and it's like, geez, like couldn't just be like a fuck, you know? Yeah.
I don't know. I think I tie emotions to a lot of other things, but sex isn't one of them. Like, if I just have sex with someone, I don't get emotionally attached. It's never been like the way I attach to someone. So like when guys tell me, like when I date people and they're like, "Let's make love," I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, can we just bang one out?" It's been fights I've had with boyfriends where they're like, "You won't make love to me," and I'm like, "We're having sex and I love you." Like, can that be the same thing? Like,
do you just like rough sex? Like, do you like very like emotional sex sometimes, or do you just like it rough?
I like it. I mean, it doesn't have to be rough. It can just be normal sex. But like the whole eye contact, like long makeout sessions during it, like that's not that's not my thing. Like it's more of a, afterwards we can make out or in foreplay we can make out, but once it goes inside, like can we just like do the thing?
See, I feel like if we're not dating, the eye contact thing,
Freaks me out.
yeah. But if we are dating, I do like the eye contact. It makes you feel like closer to the person. No? Oh, I love that shit.
No, I'm gonna quote How I Met Your Mother. Ted Mosby is having sex with a girl he's dating, and he's like, first there was like no eye contact, then there was too much. Like, where the fuck do you look during sex? Paraphrasing. But like that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't wanna like I mean, random eye contact is okay. But like and if we're doing like BDSM stuff and it's like Dom sub and they pull my hair and make me look at them, that's hot to me.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as like that romantic eye contact. Like that's the kind of eye contact I like. It's like dominate me and make me look at you, not like, "Hi, I love you." No, that freaks me out so much. Like I can't do it. Like my favorite position is doggy. Like you really just
My favorite position is doggy too.
it's the best position.
It is. It really is. It feels the best.
It does. Like I mean, balls hitting clit like feels good.
Have Have you ever used a dick ring or vibrating
Yes.
dick ring?
Yes.
Game changer. Game changer, everyone. For someone who can't come like during sex, it's a game changer for sure. But yeah, doggy style is definitely my favorite. But yeah, I would say like if it's just a fuck buddy relationship, no, not like the lovey-dovey eye contact. But if I'm like with you, I like it sometimes. Like when there's missionary, like their face is right there. So what else are you gonna look at? Oh, you look at it.
Yep. But like it doesn't mean I don't care about the person. I'm just more of in a like emotional, like I want to know your brain. Like I want to know what's inside. I want the deep conversations that you get because of the sex, if that makes sense. So like when I'm dating someone, I think people open up a lot more once you've been intimate that way. But like for me, intimacy doesn't come from sex. It comes from those conversations. About life. It comes from you like confiding in me about things. It comes from me confiding in you. Like it comes from the cuddling and the hand holding and shit like that on the couch. Like it doesn't come from sex. Like I don't know if I think sex is just so easy to do with anybody. Yeah. But I don't want to cuddle with anybody. I don't want to tell anyone my private thoughts.
Right. No, that's valid. That's super valid.
Guys, we're so real.
Yeah.
That's our number one compliment we get.
So vulnerable, like right now. But yeah, I've only backslid once. And I regretted it. So I don't think I would ever do it again. Like, it just doesn't feel like there's so many other dicks out there. Not going to go back to that one. Like, we're not together for a reason. And then it could bring up feelings that were, like, never sorted out in one of their heads. Like, So, but anything else you want to say on that?
No, I'm good. I just think when it comes to like if you can be friends with an ex, it's more of a like personal decision. So I think the longer time you take away, like I know people who are like, "Well, can I be friends with my ex on Facebook?" Like I don't think that's an issue at all. Like can I be friends with my ex after years, like of not seeing or talking to each other? I don't think that's an issue at all. I think the issue comes early on in the breakup when everyone's still vulnerable, everyone's kind of getting over stuff, people are healing. That's when it's hard. I think once you get past that point and you're both happy and with other people, I think it's a lot easier to just be like, all right, like, let's try to be friends. Let's grab a cup of coffee. Even bring your significant others that you're dating now, like, so they're comfortable. Like,
The one time I like tried to be friends and like hang out with my ex just as friends, I was like, the whole time I was just like, why did I ever like you? Like, you're just like, you're a deadbeat. Like, such a turn off. The whole time I was just like, why was I ever attracted to you? Ever. So I just like once I break up with someone, I'm just like, let's just go our separate ways, I mean, unless like you are really good friends with their friends and you're going to run into them. Yeah. Like, as much as you try to avoid it, it's going to happen. Right. But that just takes like maturity and communication.
No, I agree. Okay, well, hopefully that was good. I found out way too much about my sex life, but it's fine.
Can you guys tell we're tired as shit? Bear with. It's been a fucking week. All right. So, intimacy with friends and disclosing it to your significant other.
How do you go about this? Or do you think it's necessary? Like, do you think you should have to disclose every friend that you've had sex with when you get into a relationship?
No, I don't think so. I mean, okay, first of all, anyone who you have been with in the past leading up to you guys being together shouldn't matter. Right. Like, at all. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, it shouldn't matter. Yeah. So I personally wouldn't say anything unless they ask. Like, there's no need. Like,
no, I agree. I take the same response. Like, if they ask me, I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
But like, if it's nothing to worry about, they shouldn't feel worried. Like, they shouldn't think, oh, well, she was intimate with this person. So, like, if we get into a fight, what if she runs to him? Like, what if I do? They're my friend, but I'm not running to them to jump in bed. Like, what if they happen to be one of my best friends and I ask them for advice? Like, they shouldn't have to worry about me doing that, because of something that happened, who knows, like 1, 2, 3 years ago. Right. That's kind of where I stand on it.
See, I've never had like a friend group, so I've never had to be in the situation. I mean, the only time that I have disclosed is like I told Andrew about a girl that I hooked up with that he knows. Okay. But I feel like that's different for me because it's a girl. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't date women, but like I hook up with them. So I don't see how it would be like concerning. Right. But that's the only person that he knows that,
No, I agree. I mean, and for me, like, guys just think girls hooking up with girls is hot. Like, they don't even really take it as it's a threat. So I don't know if that, like, counts in the same manner. Like, for me, it, like, I mean, I have dated girls. I've dated guys. Mm-hmm. I tend to date guys more. But, like, I have been in relationships with both. So for me, it's, like, I still am, like, do I have to disclose this? Because honestly, my thing is I get sick of guys being like, oh, will she have a threesome with us? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's not why I told you this information. Like, this was not the goal. Like, yeah. If we, like, that's not how you bring up, can we have threesomes?
Right. I feel like it's more concerning if you're bisexual and you do date women, because it's like, oh, well, not only are men a threat, but women are a threat. I think it's different because with me, like, I just like hooking up with girls, you know?
Yeah.
Girls are hot.
Who doesn't like hooking up with girls?
Yeah, I'm like, but like dating girls are psycho though. I'm gonna stick with guys.
I don't know. I've dated like 3 girls, and each girl I dated was actually very not psycho, and I think that's why we were attracted to each other, because we were more calm, I guess. Really? Yeah, but like I don't go after the psycho. Like I'm pretty quick to like judge girls because we have such a core group of girls that are good vibes. You know, they're not dramatic, that I think I've learned when a girl is going to be like that versus when she's going to be crazy. And kind of how to like, you know, like be on that line where I find decent human beings if I decide to date a girl. But guys are easier, for being honest. Like it's so much easier to date a guy. Their brains are wired differently. They're less dramatic, I guess. Yeah. Sometimes.
They're just sometimes. I mean, I feel like they're just more chill, and sometimes that can be an issue because it's just like it comes off as not caring. But I really just think that some things just go right over their head just because they're guys. It's just like, dude, I am telling you this so obviously, like as indirectly as I can, and you're still not getting it. Like,
no, I totally agree. I do think back to like if we should like disclose things. I think it also depends on how the guy would handle it, or how the person you're dating would handle it. Because if they're gonna be like super controlling, first of all, get out of that relationship. But also like if you feel like that's not something you need to disclose because of that, like don't disclose it. And maybe judge how they do on other things first. Or this sounds so bad, I know, but like maybe make it a test of like you telling them and see how they get. Like if you feel like there are controlling vibes, maybe you should disclose it just to see if like they react like, okay, well, you know, like thanks for telling me, that's good to know, like, and have a like actual adult conversation. Or if they are like, no, fuck that, like you're never hanging out with that person again.
Right. Yeah. And of course, like they have a right to be a little like they can be upset, but like
I don't know if they can be upset. I think they can have emotions about it. Yeah. But I don't know if like upset or angry is one of them, because it was before that you dated.
Maybe, see, okay. I think upset and angry are different. I feel like upset is like bummed. Okay. But angry is like, fuck you, you slut. You know what I mean? Like, that's upset would just be like, dang, like, I just need a day to process this, but I'll be fine. Like, it's just like I'm not excited to hear that, but like, thanks for telling me and I understand, but like, bummer.
No, I get that. Like, I can see that. Excuse me. Not alcohol, guys. No alcohol today. Solidarity for the hospital visit. No, I agree. I think like they can be bummed, but again, for me, emotion and sex don't go together. So if someone tells me they used to hook up with somebody, it doesn't bother me very much. Well, like, I feel like
the fact that that person's even telling you in the first place, it's like there's nothing to worry about. Right. Because if there was, they probably wouldn't be telling you. Right. So that in itself is just like, it just shows like, hey, I like you a lot. I want you to know this. But like I said again, like I wouldn't, unless they asked, like it's not really something that they need to know.
Yeah. No, I'm a huge component of the don't ask, don't tell policy. Like no one will ever see my list. No one will ever know how many people I've slept with. Like that's just,
I've seen her list.
All right, we've seen each other's, and that's as far as it will ever go. Ever.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, like, I never plan on showing that to someone I date. I never want to see theirs. Like, who wants to know how many people your significant other has, like, slept with before you? Yeah. You know, I don't want to know that, because then I'm going to be thinking of it could be 10, it could be 200, but, like, however many they are, Like, you are going to question, like, who they were if you know the number versus if you just, like, or, like, I'm going to move forward. And, like, when we started, it's like, that's it. That's, like, our start. Then it's just going to be easier. You're going to have a fresh start together. And, like, if you end up with this person, they're your last. So why does it matter?
Right. Well, unless you're, like, in an open relationship. Which.
In a few episodes.
I feel like that's something that is more common these days. Like, swingers and stuff like that.
So I know, I've hooked up with a couple different couples, and I'm friends with the couples I've hooked up with, and it's like one of those things where I don't even like disclosing that to the person I'm dating, because they get really weird about, like, oh, well, you need more than one person to satisfy you. First of all, yes, sometimes. But, like, they get so in their head about it. And I'm like, I don't even want to tell you this stuff, because you get so in your head about the fact that I've done these things. And, like, no one stopped you from doing crazy stuff in your past, Like, now that we're together, I don't do that anymore. So why does it even matter that this happened? But, like, they look at it as, like, if you hook up with the 3 guys I've dated in the past, like, 2 years have looked at it like, oh, like, you did this? Like, that's, crazy. Like, you're wild. First of all, that's not that wild, but that's another story.
Everyone, like, gets their rocks off different. Like, everyone has different preferences of what they like and, like, what they're into. And just because, like, someone's into just one-on-one sex, doesn't mean that the other person, like, didn't like to do it before. But all that matters is that, of course, they're not going to do it when they're with you.
Right. Yeah. So, do you ever find it hard getting into new relationships and then just being around people you hooked up with in the past? Like, does that ever become an issue for you?
I've never really had to do that. Like, I have dotted my I's and crossed my T's. Like I said, I usually, most of the time, it's like a clean cut. Like, I don't bring people I've hooked up with around whoever I'm with currently, just because, like, I don't like drama, and, like, I don't want anything to happen. So
that's fair.
Yeah,
I get that.
what about you?
I have too many stories. I don't share it unless necessary. Like, I was in a triangle last year with someone, but it was me and another girl and a guy. And it wasn't all 3 of us hooking up together. He was hooking up with both of us, and I knew. She apparently didn't know it was me. She knew it was someone, but she didn't know who it was, and I knew who it was. But me and the guy both thought she knew, so we thought we were all good. Like, we actually hung out, and not just the 3 of us, but in larger groups together. We'd, like, hang out and do stuff. And then one day, she found out, due to another friend mentioning that me and the guy had gone to the beach together. And that was super fun. She, like, got super angry. Didn't talk to him for, like, 2 or 3 weeks. And then she invited me over, and we had a really long conversation, and I thought it went really well until she was like, you're keeping him from a happy relationship. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, like, you guys just hooking up meaninglessly is keeping him from being happy. And I'm like, but you're hooking up with him meaninglessly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just me. Like, he doesn't want a relationship, or else he wouldn't be with either of us.
Yeah.
Because it's meaningless for both parties. Like, all parties involved is supposed to be meaningless sex. Like, and she's like, oh. And I was like, am I doing something different than you? And she's like, I guess not. And, like, was first of all, stunned I called her out. But secondly, like, she still was angry with me. She was still like, but like, you know, he's older, I'm older. Like, you need to just like be careful. And like, wouldn't let it go fully. Like, admitted that she was doing the same thing as me, but still was like, well, maybe we could be together if like you weren't in the picture, was kind of how she phrased it.
Oh.
And I'm like, but you won't be.
Oh my god.
So like, after that, it was much more like, all right, yeah, just don't ask, don't tell ever. Like, don't tell anyone who you're hooking up with. Like, keep it on the DL, because I mean, we all thought it was all okay, and even then it, you know, was just such a mess once all that happened, that I was like, just nope. No one needs to know anything.
If the person that I'm with had hooked up, I'm just gonna like say it from my perspective. If they had hooked up with someone that's in the friend group and we're around them a lot, but like they're not hooking up anymore, obviously, I wouldn't want to know.
Right.
Like, don't tell me, because then I would be like, those thoughts, like, are they still hooking up? Like, if one of them laughs at each other the wrong way, it's just like, did y'all fuck last night? Like I would rather not know.
Right.
So that's how I treat that.
That's fair. I think for me, it's like, I also question how much I should share. So like, if someone asks me if I hooked up with someone in our group, and I had, like, I'm not going to lie to them and be like, no, you know, it never happened. But then if you say yes, how much do you have to disclose? Mm-hmm. Is the even harder part of that. Because, like, what if you hooked up for, like, a year? Right. Like, do you have to say that? What if you hooked up, you know, like, once super drunk? Like,
don't ask, don't tell.
Exactly. Like, if I say yes, just don't ask more questions. Like, it's over. Yeah. If it wasn't, then I wouldn't be dating someone. Like, so I think that's one of the things where, like, yeah, I mean, I just don't think you need to disclose anything. Like, I think people asking that, it just causes more drama and more, like, irritation in their own head than is necessary.
Right. No, I completely agree. It's just, like, stirring the pot.
Yeah.
But,
like, it's not going to help your mental state.
Exactly. Definitely not. But, yeah, that's all I have to say on that. But
Same. Yeah, this was episode 5. We're hoping it's not super choppy because the computer's looking really weird. Yeah.
I feel like we will bring the energy next week. We're both shot. But we were so glad we were able to record this week. Because definitely missed recording last week.
Yep, next week we have another special guest, so we're super excited about that. And next week we will have our mugs. So that's super exciting. We're going to do a giveaway on our Instagram page, so make sure you look out for that. And then they will be ready for pre-sale next week too. Yay. So, yay! We're so excited. I'm really excited about that, actually. But yeah, I mean, thanks for listening. I hope we gave you guys some insight. We definitely will bring extra energy next week with a lot of alcohol. So that'll be great. But yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, we will see you guys next week.
Say that you love me, fool me, fool